a scion of many worlds. The Broken Soul is a hideous ship, having more in common with a floating wreck and stinking of rotting fish and seaweed. It seems more like the ferry of damned souls than a proper sailing vessel. Once they get close enough to the patchwork abomination of a vehicle, it becomes truly unmistakable. The sensation is there. Every person who isn't in chains has the sensation, the direction. All right, ladies, I want to hear plans and ideas no matter how crazy. Our goals are to get the innocent off that ship unharmed, kill the crew, snuff out the shadow, and reduce the ship itself to splinters, if not smoke and ash. Start talking, Jasper says, and there's some chatter. Well, if we can confirm there are not slaves below deck, me and the girls might be able to do a snatch and grab with a big rogue wave just swelling over the deck. It'll be tricky, but we can sweep over the whole thing, snap all the chains, and be gone in the 2 seconds it would take for everyone to figure out which way is up again. Lena considers and Jasper thinks. Are you sure? Civilian rescue is one of, if not the most important part of this operation. No screw-ups are allowed. Jasper orders and there's a terse nod. All right then. Next, we need the crew to die. I will do that. They are dependent on pendants around their necks. All of them have it. See? Banshee says, bringing up her communicator. She had taken a picture of the ship and zoomed in on one of the crew. Sure enough, there was a strange scrimshaw pendant around her neck. It has clear Kutha inlay and strange runes. Very good. This will also let you get your revenge. Jasper approves. I'll go for the shadow. Whoever it is likes to stay in darkness. I'll bring about enough light to bleach their bones bare. Let's see how fast they can adjust from total darkness to standing on the sun. Not fast enough to avoid my mace breaking the sound barrier, I'd wager. Lady Clarity offers and Jasper nods. I guess that leaves me the ship itself, Terry says, patting her still wrapped up toy. Once they're dead, get clear. This beauty does not discriminate and it does not play nice. You haven't shown us what it is yet? Is it a cannon or a minigun? Jasper asks. With Axiom. Both, Terry says, and Jasper's eye ridges go up. Yeah, that's pretty indiscriminate, he admits. Well, a minigun of cannons would reduce just about anything made of wood to splinters. And what does that leave us to do? Magrika asks. No plan survives contact with the enemy. They're going to actively fuck up everyone else's plan as best they can. So you, me, and Lady Allure will be circling above and waiting to dive down and help with any part of the plan going wrong. So we fuck up their fucking up? Magrika asks. Must you say things so crudely? Lady Allure asks in a pained tone. Yes, Magrika notes smugly. Jasper holds up a claw to get ahead of any arguments. Anyways, our priority is to assist in any area of the plan that's failing. With our wings, we can get in faster than just about anyone else. We make full use of that. Are there any objections by anyone of this part of the plan? Why haven't we already started? Banshee demands. A couple of reasons. First, we may have a plan, but we also need to observe. We don't have as much time for that as I hoped, as the torture happy fuckers have hostages. But we still need to make sure that we're not going to run into an invisible wall of spears and impale ourselves on empty-looking air. If our plans just end up with us in chains, then it's a bad plan no matter how good it sounds or how eager we are. Jasper says. What's that rule you taught us? In a fight, it's a contest to see who makes the fatal mistake first and doing everything you can to make sure it's the other side. Jane asks and Jasper nods. So what now? We stalk them and wait? No later than sunset at the extreme outside. If they start torturing the hostages, we move sooner, Jasper says, and there are nods all around. All right then, I'll be on the nearest island and ready to shred it then, Terry says as she adjusts the strap on her mini cannon and then steps away before stomping the ground, and it suddenly erupts beneath her and then launches her into the distance. They watch as she hurls herself to a distant island, And then there's a spot in the distance as she gets ahead of the ship through the dense archipelago. Jasper checks the map on his communicator and sees that her tracker is on and showing her progress clearly. He rolls his eyes. All right then, let's get moving. Lady Clarity, Banshee, I'll be carrying you both and dropping you in at the same time. I want the Shadow to have her head crushed as the crew dies. Magrika, Alur, you two are going to be free to assist wherever. There's some nodding and everyone begins to move. Jasper grabs both Lady Clarity and Banshee, and after a bit of fiddling has them both comfortably in his arms before he takes off. This is a scenario where his enormous size really helps, but he's still going to have to be careful. He's a lot bigger than everyone else, so if the Broken Soul notices anyone, it's going to be him. The fact he's carrying Lady Clarity and Banshee only adds to that. We need to get closer, Banshee tells him. I know, but I'm big enough that any half-competent lookout will spot me easily. We want every advantage, that includes surprise. And how are we supposed to get the information we need to see them all dead if we don't get closer? I thought you Foza had amazing hearing. Listen to them. Learn the layout of the ship and ready yourself to strike, Jasper advises. Time's up anyways. They're torturing the prisoners, Banshee suddenly says, and Jasper moves. He crests over the island and begins barreling down on the ship. His axiom senses tell him that every plank, rope, and strip of canvas is saturated in strange axiom effects, but few of them leave the ship very far. The axiom effects do nearly nothing as the waters swell and rush over the top of the ship and descend down into it as well. Jasper hits the deck and the water is barely up to his waist. There are numerous snapping sounds as chains break and the civilians are torn away from the Broken Soul. Banshee hits the deck and lets out a scream. The Broken Soul pirates nearby are filthy things with a twisting knot of the other direction hanging around their necks and bodies. Lady Clarity slams past two of them and smashes open the door to the captain's cabin even as light begins to erupt. Jasper grabs the nearest pirate that Banshee isn't in the process of shattering with her voice alone and goes straight up. She nearly reminds him of Terry as she claws at his arm and kicks, but his real attention is on the pendant. It's not something he can. The more he focuses on it, the more his awareness is dragged into the other direction and he finds his free claw reaching towards it almost subconsciously. Something is wrong, very, very wrong. His antenna lower as he ignores the useless thrashing and focuses on the pendant. He does, however, disarm the woman of her knife as she finally gets the sense to try and stab him. He also breaks a couple of her fingers in the process. There are furious screams below, but he can't sense any of his companions in need of help. There is... Oh shit. Get off the boat! Now! Jasper roars down as he throws away the pirate. What? But we're winning! Banshee calls up as he dives down to pull her off the ship. Clarity now! It's a trap! Jasper roars, refusing to touch the deck as he plucks Banshee off the cursed ship. The light blasts out of the captain's cabin and washes over at him. Clarity screams incoherently, and he's forced to swat away her mace and grab her before pulling away from the ship. Girls, be careful! The hostages are compromised! I repeat, the hostages are compromised! Jasper roars out as he pulls Lady Clarity up and away from the ship. She goes limp the moment she's out of contact with the vessel. Get clear! Terry calls out, and Jasper rises up as hard as he can. There's unholy, mindless screaming from the island where the six had brought the hostages. It had taken seconds for the Shadow to compromise Lady Clarity. Who knows how far gone those girls are, even if they can be called girls anymore. Terry finally unleashes her weapon, and it's everything that she implied. Explosions followed by brutal crunches of wood shattering beneath its sheer force. The seas below transform into a churning, unending detonation as tiny slivers of wood and boat start to shatter. Then things shift as the crunching sound vanishes entirely and the firing of the weapon tapers off. There is a great darkness where the broken soul was. Clarity. Lady Clarity, he asks as he can sense the direction. Something wrapped around her heart from the other direction. His will comes down and smashes at the thing. There is a howl from below, and Lady Clarity suddenly takes a huge breath and starts sobbing. He holds her closer as she clings to him, seeking some kind of comfort. It had her. It was never that fast before, Banshee whispers in horror. Our enemy has been learning, Jasper says as both Lady Allure and Magrica come in close. Bring these two to safety. The only way to fight this thing is to be aware of the other direction. Are you freaking? Magrica begins, and Banshee lets out a yelp as she's tossed into the smaller woman's grasp. Guard her, Lady Allure. Her very soul was just attacked. Jasper instructs the paladin as he gently passes off Lady Clarity. He then draws his swords and begins drawing Axiom into them. The shadow far below is looking up and watching. There is no ship. There is no crew. There only was the shadow, its puppets, and its toy. What? Banshee asks. Those women down there. They've been dead for a long time. The amulets. They come from the other direction. To put it simply, they were haunted. He explains, drawing his swords now that his arms are free. He starts swirling Axiom around the blades and pulling from the other direction. Time for the dead to do battle. Get everyone together and see if you can't help the hostages. They may already too far gone, but we must try. You're not allowed to die, Big Moth, Magrica tells him, and he nods. I mean it. I've got mini moths in me, and there's your adopted daughter as well. No dying. Not planning on it. I have family reunions to get to after all. Lady Allure, Magrica, between you two you're in charge. Keep people near and ready. I have some connections to the other direction to cut. What if she cuts yours? Lady Allure asks, and he chuckles. It's already drawn in fully. There's little, if anything, to cut. Jasper replies, I'll be back soon. With that, he snaps his wings close to him and begins to drop. He orients himself in midair and angles his left sword down to stab at the black water before him, even as it glows as bright as a star and howls of the other direction. The water outright parts in front of him, and he's forced to snap his wings out to avoid slamming into the seafloor. He absently notes that a trinity of anchors are holding back the water, each a great distance from each other. However, most of his attention is on the thing floating in the air, directly behind the utterly umbral figure of the shadow. It was wearing the planks and ropes of the broken soul as a halo hovering behind it. The crew of the ship were hanging from the remains of the vessel, locked back onto it by their talismans pulling tight against their throats. The sensation of death screams in the area. The sensation around the sleeper was like finding an ocean. This was a river downstream of an opened reservoir. Shallow it may be, but it would sweep out your feet and bash you to pieces on the rocks. You're not afraid? The shadow asks. I know you can sense it. You can see what I've done, what I will do, and you are not afraid. I am undaunted, necromancer, or goddess of death. You are only the enemy, my enemy. You're already beaten. The only question is, how does it happen? He answers, and there's a creaking sound as the shadow takes a step forward, the darkness clinging to her towering form like a cloak. We shall see, little moth. I've never known an Orthani to be so brave. Perhaps I should seek out more. In the next life, maybe. This one is over, Jasper replies as he tenses to prepare for the first charge. The countless runes on the blanks and boards of the ship halo mean that any axiom effect imaginable could come next. He needs to be ready. For someone so drenched in death, you understand so little about it. The shadow answers as there's a pull from the other direction. Jasper metaphorically digs in his claws and resists the pull. Still, you're guarded from having your soul torn out. I'm going to enjoy tearing your secrets out of your screaming corpse. You can try.